Hello fellow sim racers. Today I'm taking a look at the good and bad weather suite for Assetto Corsa by Peter Bose. On the face of it, a weather mod may not seem that exciting, but such is the power of this tool, it completely transforms how Assetto Corsa looks, breathing a new lease of life into the title. While I know lots of you are already using this mod, I get questions on almost every Assetto Corsa video I post asking about the weather and lighting effects, and the answer is always good and bad weather suite. So for those of you that haven't moved over to the overcast side, let me tell you a little bit about the GBW suite and what it can do to improve the look of Assetto Corsa. On the face of it, it's a set of weather states, but to describe it as such underplays just how much it can do. Firstly, and most importantly, it integrates seamlessly with a number of other Assetto Corsa mods to create a diverse range of realistic environments to drive in. It's the perfect companion to Ilya's Dynamic Light shader mod, producing sunset, night and dawn environments that are by far the most convincing. And it's the same story with Alberto's wet mod for Assetto Corsa. All of this is brought together using Content Manager, which largely automates everything. Honestly, once it's all up and running, it's simply a case of selecting the time of day and the weather you want, and it all just works. The good and bad weather suite produces environments that take into account the time of day, position of the sun, wind, temperature, and precipitation. There are 14 weather types that range from glorious sunshine to biblical rain and everything in between. I'm going to play a lap of Zandvoort in the background showing each of the weather states to give you some idea of what it can do. All of the clips are recorded at the same time of day and at the same temperature, which is important because the position of the sun and temperature also have a bearing on how it all looks. In fact, the time of day has such a bearing on the overall look that I'll talk about it separately a bit later on. In this section of the video, all of the wet weather states have Alberto's wet mod enabled, but you can use them without the wet mod, which produces a pretty good facsimile of impending rain. So while you're all looking at clouds, I'll fill you in on some of the other stuff GBW Suite can do. Thanks to Content Manager's procedural weather generation system, it's possible to produce weather effects either entirely at random or based on certain parameters. For example, if you select real conditions in Content Manager, it can provide the weather conditions as they are at the geographic location of the racetrack you've selected at any given time of day, or if you'd rather, the weather conditions at your locale. And on top of that, the sun position is correct for location, time and date you've selected. As you can see, the 14 different weather states provide a diverse range of environmental conditions that, in my opinion at least, really help with the immersion factor. I mentioned earlier that the wet states can be used without the wet mod, and for some that may be desirable, as I know opinion is fairly divided on the mod. That being said, when the two mods come together, it really does look the part, and driving a twitchy single-seater in these conditions is really good fun. GBW Suite has visually stunning representations of dawn and dusk and, as you would expect, every part of the day in between. Changing the time of day has a big impact on how the game looks and can be pretty instrumental in setting up some of the more epic looking weather states. But not everybody wants to feel like they're participating in the Mordor Grand Prix, and there's plenty of scope for more subtle weather states. Speaking of subtle, changing the temperature has exactly the effect you would expect. Set the slider to cold and you get the cooler colour temperatures you'd normally associate with such conditions, and of course the opposite's also true. So that just about sums up all of the basic stuff that GBW Suite can do, but on top of all that, there are a number of other more subtle and, dare I say, in-depth tweaks that can be made to optimise GBW Suite for various use cases. There are tools for things like black level adjustment, tweaking particle effects, and adjusting the headlight brightness in the shaders mod, amongst many other tweaks and small optimizations. You can go pretty deep with this stuff if you like, or stick with the basics. Personally, I found that the out-of-the-box look is pretty close to perfect on my setup, so I haven't really felt the need to change all that much. If you stuck with me this far, it's probably pretty obvious that the Good and Bad Weather Suite is a powerful tool that allows an impressive amount of control. And thankfully, Peter's included a fairly comprehensive manual with the download, and if you want to get the most out of the package, or more importantly get it all installed properly, you should probably give that a read. Not least of all because I've only really scratched the surface in this video, and there's plenty of depth available for those that want to get their hands dirty. It's taken me a while to get around to making this video. This year's been pretty busy for Assetto Corsa mods, and let's be honest, shiny new cars are why most of us are here. But I meant what I said in the opening to this video. As far as Assetto Corsa mods go, this is very important. Impressively, Peter has constantly updated and tweaked GBW Suite to improve the look and performance, and critically to keep up with developments from other modders. And that development hasn't finished. Peter's currently working on a new mod that encompasses the features of GBW Suite and implements a 24-hour time cycle, which is arguably the final major feature that was missing from Assetto Corsa. So, the future's bright, overcast, foggy, or anything you want really. If you're interested in downloading the Good and Bad Weather Suite, then I've included a link to the race department download page in the video description. As always, if you enjoy the mod, do consider leaving the creator a review and or donating. So that brings us to the end of today's video. If all goes to plan, tomorrow I should be taking a look at a rather fun single-seater mod for Assetto Corsa. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then it would be great if you could hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you think the video will be helpful for others, then please consider sharing it. As always, thank you for donating your precious free time by watching. It is very much appreciated. So all that's left to say is goodbye, thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.